Chaz and Dave, how are you?
Hi, Alex.
Lovely, Alex.
It's nice to see you, and I'll tell you why, because whenever I hear your names mentioned, I know I'm going to smile.
Well, that's nice to know. That's bringing sunshine to the world.
That's it.
Do you get that a lot, where people just enjoy seeing you and listening to you?
We do, as it happens. I think we're basically happy blokes. I mean, we're not comedians or anything, but we're happy people, and hopefully it rubs off on other people. Yeah, they smile when they see us in the street, and that, yeah, it's good.
Do you ever get bored of being nice and happy?
No, it's not, we don't work at it.
I mean, because there are some acts that are very miserable, aren't there? I mean, there's the Verve and people like that seem to like to do that kind of negative, reflective music where you want to kill yourself at the end of it. You guys do the opposite, which is you want everybody to party, don't you?
Well, it starts off with rock and roll, really. Rock and roll, as we were growing up, we were young teenagers when rock and roll came out, and which is probably the best pop music that has ever been, and that rubbed off on us, and we were in bands playing rock and roll, and that's basically what Chaz and Dave is, really. Rock and roll with a bit of musical.
It's non-political music. It's like Chaz just said, it's rock and roll, proper rock and roll. We're talking about 50s. The real thing is a good, happy music. It's uplifting, it makes you feel good, and it still does now. When you hear them early records, it still does it for both of us.
It seems to me that the reason for your success is the fact that you're normal guys. You've not had any airs and graces about you. You've not changed who you are, where you come from, how you speak. You're just normal guys. Is that very important to you?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what we did when me and Dave got together many years ago. We decided to we loved the rock and roll stuff, as I've already said, but we wanted to write songs about things that we knew about and sing in our own accents, become ourselves, really.
You were the first to do that, though, weren't you? Was that a risk?
In a rock and roll way, we were the first, I think. We didn't look at it as a risk. We was excited by the prospect of doing it when we first started to write songs, because we hadn't done much writing before we got together to write songs. We'd just been musicians in bands. We'd done a little bit of writing, but we got right into it.
The best way to find yourself, any musician, is to sit down and try and write songs, and that is the best way to discover what you're all about yourself.
You've had so many hits, and they're also recognisable. We're going to play some of them in a moment from now. We're going to ask you which you'd like to play, because you've got this new album we should mention as well called Greatest Hits, which has got 20 of your biggest hits, and you don't seem to have changed much either, by the way. That was something I was going to comment. I mean, you don't seem to have got much older. I mean, what is
nice.
It? Oil of Ule? What do you take?
My mum always said that it's music that keeps you young, and so I believe what she said.
Did you ever dream you'd have a greatest hits? Because, I mean, this must be a good accolade for an artist that, 20 years down the line, people still want to buy songs that they probably bought 20 years ago.
Yeah,
well, we got a emergence of Chaz and Dave, really. I mean, we did Glastonbury this year, which was absolutely fantastic. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've been gaining a real genuine younger following without trying. I mean, we've just been ourselves all the way through it, and they've discovered us, and it's a fantastic period. So
always
it's built up to the Greatest Hits CD.
Yeah, we've always had a following right across the board, but like Chaz said, these last 2 or 3 years, a lot of the younger people are coming to see us, especially at festivals like Glastonbury, and we knew something was happening by doing the other festivals, because they was going balmy for us,
I don't know whether I've got this wrong, but it seems to me that kids today are sick of the pre-manufactured pop idol type of music. They want people that are real, that actually do the business, play and write and have an act, because that seems to be missing now. You can perform, and the Westlights of the world, don't get me wrong, they're huge, they're whopping, but what's their act? And that's something that you guys have always had, haven't you?
Yeah, you're definitely right there, Alex. My son said exactly the same thing. He said, because talking to him a couple of years ago when we started to gain a new younger following through the Libertines, really, they helped a long way to say when they stated that it was because of us when they were younger that made them want to pick up an instrument and try and learn to play and become musicians themselves. But my son, he said that the reason that you're becoming so popular is there's exactly what you just said. There's no one around that they can go and see an act, enjoy themselves, see some good music, everything thrown into one and come out and say what a good time they've had.
I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll take a piece of music. We're going to come back and talk about how hedonistic and showbiz your lives were back 20 years ago. I want to know what that was like, because that must be interesting. We're also going to talk about Glastonbury and Pete Doherty and people like that have backed you and given you this refound youth, really, and brought you back on the telly and got everybody talking about you. We're going to take a piece of music from this new Greatest Hits album. What is your... We'll talk to you both. We'll take one from each of you.
Sure, yeah.
Chaz, what is your number one song that you love to sing and you're still excited to sing?
That is really hard, because all the hits we both love doing. I can't really choose.
There must be one though that you love. You look forward to
for a reason. For all of them, Rabbit, Gertcha, I know Pleasing You, but for a good particular reason. I think that me and Dave was doing this song for about a year on stage, and we knew it was going to be a hit, and the record company was saying, it's a lovely song, boys, but it's not a hit. And we did this song on a TV show that had a good viewing rating, and he got so many phone calls, our manager, the next day. He said, I've got to put it out. And that was Ain't No Pleasing You, so I'm going to go for that.
Got a brand new Greatest Hits album out, and it's fantastic. And this is the right time of year to bring out this album, because Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat, and we're all going to be playing your CD and having a good sing-along. And that's the good thing about you. There's no airs and graces. It's not nonsense kind of arty-farty music. It's music you can sing along to.
Well, a lot of it is, Alex, yeah. I mean, we do ballads, we do love songs, but basically it is a happy sort of an act. I mean, like the Sideball song, I mean, you've got to be good to sing along to that, but they do manage it, because of quick words in it, but they do manage it. They did at Glastonbury anyway.
That's my next question. How do you do it, and how do you remember it? And have you ever got halfway through a song and forgot the rest of it?
You just make it up if you forget it. You get out of it that way. We've been experienced enough now to just do things at the drop of a hat, really.
That was so unique, wasn't it, Chaz, when you did that in the beginning, or the rabbit. I mean, I can't do it. How do you get your tongue round it, literally?
Well, it's like a tongue twister, exactly like a tongue twister. Once you get the hang of it, you never forget it. But like Dave says, we often, and we change, like things like the Sideball song, that goes through many phases. We started doing a bit of scat singing in it a couple of years ago. Now that we've drifted off, and we go into a little bit of the diddle-um song at the moment. But this time, in 6 months' time, we might do something else in the middle. It just happens on stage. We never rehearse it. That's all part of the fun. That's why we enjoy every gig that we do, because there's always something different that we're going to do. We all listen to each other, whereas a lot of bands don't. They go on and just churn out their hits, and are interested in their own sound. But if Dave does a particular bass bit, that's different or whatever, we'll react to it. And sometimes me and Mick, the drummer, will do something different. There's always... It is because we listen to each other, and there's not a lot of bands that do.
So there's not two shows that are the same then?
Not the Sideball song is never the same twice. In fact, we did There's a Mel yesterday, and he just chucked it out to do a bit of Sideball song. We didn't know what key we were going to do it in, because we did it on guitars for a change, but it came out good.
It's basically the same for the general public. You know, they'll hear all the choruses and the verses, but there's always something a little bit different along the line.
I notice you're touring again, and you're up and down the country. I mean, you're doing Aldershot, Huddersfield, you're in Watford, Chingford, you're going to Hornchurch, Swindon, you're at the Opera House in Wakefield, up and down the country. When did you do your first gig together? What was the year?
Yeah, I just got to get a plug in. We're doing a special Christmas one at the Shepherd's Bush Empire, December the 15th. So a few tickets left for that.
Okay.
So what did you say? When did you first go up?
What was the first... When was your first gig?
First gig, although we'd been playing at parties together for a long time, we was doing a radio show with Albert Lee for a country show, and the phone went, and it was one of our mates. He said, I've got to pull out of a gig tonight in a pub somewhere. That's the first one I can remember. Chaz might think different. But
was it over Uxbridge somewhere?
And we went down there, and the two boxers was there, Chris Finnegan, and he's
probably the first Chaz and Dave gig, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What year was that?
It was 71, 72, I can't remember.
Yeah, about
that time.
So we're now in 2005, 6, something like that. How's it changed, or is it still as exciting for you now?
Yeah, we love to play, you see. That's the big secret. We've been asked that question millions of times. We just love playing. We love it.
There's always something different. I mean, right now, there's the highlight of Chaz and Dave's show, many highlights, I know, but the new one is we do a boogie-woogie version of 12th Street Rag, which we did at Glastonbury, went an absolute storm, and that's like, the roof lifts off, and it's great, and we've only had that in a couple of years.
I don't think about it in the act that long.
No.
Probably about a year, if that. Just before Glastonbury, we started to do it. Just sort of went into it one night, and me and the drummer sort of got into the feel of it, and it went down good, and we just play it, and it develops
from there. It's always something a bit different in that there again. I mean, we never rehearsed it. I just did it one night, and then it went from there.
How hedonistic and showbiz was it back in the 70s and early 80s? I mean, was it rock and roll? Was it like, Oasis throwing tellies out of hotel windows?
I mean, for other people, we never bothered what they got up to. We were only interested in what we did, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to sit down, write songs, go out and gig. And we knew once we got together, we were an act. There was going to be an act called Chaz and Dave. I mean, before then, we were in different bands. And one of the main reasons we got together, we were fed up with the band splitting up. Just getting a band that you like, and they split up. So we thought, look, if we get together, we ain't going to split up. It'd be Chaz and Dave. We'll earn a living for the rest of our lives. And that's what we basically did. And wrote songs along the way. And hopefully we said, we might get a few hits as well, which we did.
The memory's an interesting thing, because you forget how big you were, and still are, in fact. But, I mean, how hedonistic was it? Did you get the women throwing themselves at you? Were you drunk every night?
Yeah. Most definitely.
Yeah, cool. You're too busy to enjoy all that. You're just up and down the country and doing millions of TV. In fact, I think we hold the record for the most TV appearances in one night. We was on every single channel that was available one night, yeah.
We had a few drunken parties in the past. Yeah, there's been a few end of tour parties. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still enjoy the smallness of your show? And I don't mean that in a condescending way. When Britney Spears goes on stage now, she's got 15,000 trucks and 15,000 people working on it, and then she's got this big screen. She don't sing a note live half the time. But I mean, you guys, you just go and do your stuff, and then you clear off. I mean, is that part of your success, that you can just turn up and do it?
We've been there, done that. We used to have trucks and lighting systems and this, that and the other, and we sort of went along with it because there was so much else going on. But as soon as we got sensible, we just got rid of the lot, and we were better off for it. It's just piano, bass and drums. If we do a theatre, we do an acoustic set in the first half where we play the guitars, talk to the audience, banjos, just general, we call it our front room set, where we just, and then the second half we do all the hits. And it's only the three of us, me, Dave and Mick.
We can play anywhere, with a small venue or somewhere like Glastonbury.
And it's often said to us, so there's three of you, but you sound like a full band. I mean, over the years, years ago, we used to have Albert Lee sitting in with us, guitar player. He's a good mate of ours. And he didn't sit in, I'm going back 20, 30 years. He didn't sit in for about 5 years, and he came and sat in. He went, I can't sit in with you no more. He said, there's no holes. You haven't left no holes for me to play. And I think we don't, all the holes are either filled up by a piano lick or a bass lick or a drum lick.
We've evolved our style through not having a guitar player, I think.
Joe Brown said the same thing, didn't he? He said, there's no holes to fill up. He said, I can't sit in with you, boys.
The other thing I noticed from reading your bio is you say you don't want any fancy effects, you don't even want echo or reverb or any of that, because it's good enough by itself.
Yeah. We think it takes the meanness away sometimes, echo.
Yeah, especially reverb echo, which is like a false sound. We like the old rock and roll echo. Is effective on some stuff, but yeah, I mean, if it ain't there in the first place, you can't put it there with effects. And the ones that use most effects are the ones that ain't got it there in the first place.
You mentioned the word Glastonbury a few times in the interview, and I've saved it till the end, because to me there must be no greater privilege or honour than for an old act, as you would be deemed by today's society, to be asked to go to the most current, topical and up-to-date event ever. To be asked to go to that.
Yeah.
I mean, how did you feel?
Well, that's Chaz and Dave for you. We've been doing loads of festivals, you see. And when we did Glastonbury, we knew that we'd go down good, because we always go down good. We always give people a good time. But we weren't prepared for that amount of people to know every word of every song that we sung.
I mean, there was like 18,000 plus had come to see us. We weren't like supporting somebody where you just so happens that they see you but they've come to see someone else. They walked across the place to see us, which is great, and sang all our songs, like Dave said.
I think that's really the good example of where age doesn't matter. There's no one else like us, but our music is, well, we love it, and other people love it as well. Age don't even come in, it don't matter. There's a lot of rockers our age still going around, Rod Stewart's still going. I mean, if you're good, you're good, and that's it. You can go forever if you're good.
And if you can perform, you can perform.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
The interesting thing that I was thinking about when I was coming in today was who have tried to copy you and who have been successful. And I think the answer is none and no one.
Yeah, a lot of people have been influenced by us. I mean, the Libertines, for instance, they said they started to play because they heard us when they were kids.
I don't mean influence, I mean actually copy. Because what happens now, of course, is you get a success story and then they create another 5 of them that never ever work. But I mean, you guys were just so distinctive. I don't think anybody even tried, did they?
Yeah, no, there's a few like tribute Chaz and Dave's going about, Daz and Shave and things like that.
Are they any good?
Well, I don't know. They ain't too bad, but a mate of mine was in Cyprus on holiday and he phoned me up. He said, I've just walked past this hotel. He said, there's a big poster up. The original Chaz and Dave are on tonight. I said, you better go in there and tell that geezer, you know, because he might be a Greek bloke. He might not know they're not the real ones.
I don't think anybody could do your act as well as you do. As I say, it's so great to see you because I grew up watching you on TV and you always made me smile, and I think that's the greatest compliment you can have as a performer, isn't it?
That's nice, Alex,
I think so, yeah.
Listen, this new CD's out. It's called The Greatest Hits. It's got all of your classic songs. And Dave, let's end with your favourite.
Right, I can answer the question the same as Chaz did. It's very difficult. All them songs are our babies, but I want to be the first one on this new album to play, or you'll be the first one to play it, the 12th Street Rag off of our new album.
Okay,
Would you do that?
I will.
You'll be the first one to play it.
I'm really looking forward to hearing it, and thank you again for coming in. You are just a breath of fresh air to people in show business, and thank God you're still around and doing the business.
Because thanks, Alex. I only just started.
And you're never going to stop touring. It carries on forever.
No, rock us till we die. That's us.
It's kept us young so far, so we ain't going to give it up now.
Congratulations, and thank you very much for coming in today. Chaz and Dave on Capital Gold.
Cheers, Alex.